And 1 week from today, Texas senators will decide whether to dismiss articles of impeachment against suspended Attorney General Ken Paxton. That date, by the way, falls just 1 week before the trial is set to begin. Adam Bennett, live in West Houston. Adam, the decision on whether to dismiss any charges could be based on the timing of the alleged acts.
That's right, Lynn. So Paxton's lawyers argue that because the alleged events took place before Paxton was reelected last November, the state constitution does not allow for impeachment. But one political expert points out that most of the information, the evidence that's been made public, has come out after that date. As media attention shifts from Ken Paxton's criminal case earlier this month, there's a key deadline next week on that trial in the Texas Senate.
The biggest blockbuster will be the pretrial motions, because they're the ones that effectively could dismiss the entirety of the case against the suspended Attorney General.
UH political science professor Brandon Rottinghouse says it all comes down to what's called the prior term doctrine of the Texas Constitution.
And this doctrine effectively says that if the person was elected and reelected, then the voters have essentially absolved them from any kind of issue that might come up in terms of impeachment. So constitutionally, they're not allowed to impeach that person.
Last week, the Texas Senate published nearly 4,000 pages of exhibits submitted by House impeachment managers. They lay out how Paxton allegedly abused his office to help campaign donor and Austin real estate developer Nate Paul.
There's a ton of detail here, thousands of pages of information. Most of this was not known to the public before last week. So the House impeachment managers are going to make the case that these are things that the public didn't know, and therefore they should continue to include those as articles of impeachment.
He says case law is also inconsistent on which election the doctrine refers to. Paxton has been elected to the office 3 times, starting in 2014. And once that Senate committee releases their recommendations next Tuesday, the rules say that the Senate could then vote to dismiss those articles of impeachment before the opening statements began at the trial next Tuesday, the following Tuesday, September 5th. Meanwhile, this afternoon, we got our first look at how the public will be able to watch the proceedings firsthand inside the Senate gallery. We'll put a link to that information at KHOU.com. Len?